So I'm just shooting this on the fly. Um, just really looking at the first few days of being here and where we're going with this trip, where we're going with the vlogging experience, the point of being here. I mean, this is becoming a regular thing every 3 months. Um, I'm over here for 3 weeks to a month and then back home, back to work. And, I've very fortunately been able to land in a work situation where I'm subbing out to a contractor who's quite okay with my schedule, my work schedule, my travel schedule, which is a blessing. And I was up front before I went to work for him, and I think I've gained enough of a reputation in the city I'm in where whatever sort of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever sort of hindrance it is to his business to have me sort of there for 3 months, gone for most of a month, back, out, back, seems to be compensated for by the quality of my work and my ability to integrate with his processes and operations and his customers, and that's a big thing. A lot of guys are skilled carpenters, skilled in a wide range of the trade, but a lot of people go into the trades because they don't have to talk to people. They just show up, work, do a fantastic job or whatever it is that they're doing with their day, and that's just the way they're happiest. They don't have to interact with people or do the whole customer facing part of the job, whereas I'm quite comfortable with that, and I enjoy engaging with people, and you're part of their dream in a sense. They're dumping a bunch of money at you, at the contractor, to do a renovation or an add-on or whatever it is that we're doing, and that's a lot of money for a lot of people, and it's a lot of risk. You have to trust people you don't know that they'll come into your house and do a good job and give you what you're paying for. And nothing ever runs perfectly. No project goes 100% like a Swiss watch. There's always snags. As soon as you do a renovation and you open up some walls, 10 times out of 10 you find stuff that needs to be addressed and generally isn't accounted for in the original estimate or quote for the job, and which isn't my problem. I'm not the general on any of these projects. I'm just a sub. So I think that factors in as well, that he can sort of offload the project on me, gives me a crew, and my goal is just to make sure that when I leave for the Philippines that the project's done and we're at a place where I'm just unnecessary. And that's the commitment I made to him. That was his concern, was that I'd leave for the Philippines and the project's half-assed done and nobody knows where to pick up. So he's busy enough that he can throw me the projects that we can have a pretty good expectation of being completed before I leave, and at a point where if it's not 100% completed, it's just tiny things that need to be done that a monkey with a brain can do. And so that's a decision that I made, and it's work-life balance, right? Like, one of my frustrations with Western society in particular is that you put in so much of your life to work, and if you're someone that's decided to have a family, you've gotten married and you've got kids, you're deferring a lot of dreams and a lot of personal things to make that happen. And so it should be. I mean, if you're going to commit yourself to a wife, another woman, or a woman, or a man, as the case may be, and kids, that's a lot of yourself that you have to put aside for somebody else. And obviously, when you start spawning, then you're putting yourself aside for the kids you're bringing into the world, and that's a huge commitment. huge commitment. And so I feel very, very blessed that I've been able to sort of hop out of that cycle, and absolutely no judgment or criticism or suggestion that my choices are any better than anybody else's choices. There's just the choices that work for me. But I just find so much that, people I work with, they're in for the long haul. They're going to put in their 35 years and hopefully make enough money that they can retire. But with particularly the part of Canada that I live in, prices for things, goods, property, they're rising faster than wages. And I just feel very much that in a position where I was just going to work it out for 35 years, do this business until I'm ready to retire. At that point, my money will be worth less than it is now, whereas the cost of everything else will have gone up exponentially. And in all honesty, just being real, it's a big part of my reason for embarking on this journey of discovering the Philippines, or Asia in general, actually. I get a lot of bang for my buck here, and I don't say that out of putting down the Philippines. But it is what it is, and I just feel that I could retire a lot sooner, if I choose to stop working, or conversely, if I get injured. For a lot of people in the trade, you're one serious injury away from that being it. You blow your back out or you blow your knees out, suddenly your job can be pretty much impossible to do. And unless you're in a place where you can hand that work off to employees, or be in a sort of a consulting position or a management position, what do you do? And the Philippines is, I enjoy it here, but I need to be here enough and spend enough time here that you get over the bliss of first experience. When you first go to a new place, everything's magical, and you're just absorbing the color and the flavor of the places you're in. But that doesn't mean that, a year or two in, you're not gonna be like, oh man, I'm just sick of this. This was not what I was thinking. And you start making decisions based on one trip or two trips. I don't know. I just feel that you can end up in a place where you've invested a bunch of money in a country, say the Philippines, and you'll never get that out at all. And I'm speaking from my situation. I can't speak for everybody, of course. Perhaps other people are in a situation and they're comfortable with, like, hey, if I decide I'm sick of the Philippines, I can liquidate whatever assets I've got here, and I haven't taken a hit. I don't think I'm in that position, where if I make the choice to build here and sort of finish out my life here, or whatever that's going to look like in 10, 20, 30 years, I want to be pretty sure that I could enjoy being here over that span of time. And to move somewhere just because it's a financial imperative or an economic necessity, or I think that's doing yourself a disservice. That being said, I have friends back in Canada who both make pretty good money. They're living in Vancouver, and they're both coming up on retirement, and they're planning to move to Saskatchewan, buy a house, and live some small town in Saskatchewan. And nothing against Saskatchewan again, but if you're a Canadian, you know what the winters are like there, and it's not exactly a summer paradise that everybody wants to go to. And they're doing it just because that's their budget. They don't want to owe money to anybody. They want to have their property outright, which is a brilliant idea. But that's where their budget takes them. And I just come back to, so you've spent a significant chunk of your life working, and now you're going to take your retirement years and live in a place that isn't really your choice, You're not choosing it because of the attractiveness of the climate or the geography or whatever. You're doing it because it makes economic sense. And to me, there's some sadness there. Like, I don't think anybody, looks at their retirement, wherever that is for you, and says, "Yeah, that's my end game. That's where I want to be." And also, I think for a lot of people, their sense of adventure gets sapped as they get older. Yeah, mufflers in the Philippines are definitely an option, and one that is not exercised by a lot of people. So you just take the video for what it is. I'm just literally sitting here having coffee and letting her rip. So starting to give you a bit of a backstory of why I'm doing this and why I'm not doing it quickly. This isn't a decision that I'm going to come to. It's attractive right now, but I'm only a year or two in, and there's lots of positives to the Philippines. Absolutely. That being said, there's a lot of, I don't want to use the word negatives, but you have to take culture in a country for what it is. And people will freely tell you that this is a corrupt country. This is Filipinos talking. This isn't me making this shit up. They will say, yeah. And in fact, not too long ago, they had pretty big protests over some of the disaster relief stuff. Americans sent them a bunch of money, and it's mysteriously gone missing, chunks of it. And they're calling politicians to account for that. And maybe in another video, I'll get into the way many people live here, and the cycle of living that enables each generation to survive and help the next generation get going. But it's only so that the next generation can do the same for the following generation, and nothing really changes. The names change, but everybody's sort of at the same level, same economic level, and that never really changes. And so that's a segue that I probably didn't need to go on, but there it is. So it's a case for myself of make haste slowly, and probably like many other people, I was just looking at my life and where I'm going and the age I'm at and where do I want to be? Where do I want to be in 5 years, 10 years? What do I want to do? And one of the things I didn't want to compromise on was adventure. I've been fortunate, sometimes unfortunate, that my life has been pretty adventurous. It's been a very, very different sort of life, which again has its positives and definitely has its negatives. But it's put me at a place where I'm not comfortable or happy just doing a 9 to 5 every day. A lot of people are fine going to the same office, doing the same kind of work. I'm not. And again, there's no criticism. There's no suggesting that somehow I'm better or that my way is better or what I've done is better. It's just that's the way things played out, and I can't even comprehend of going to some sort of office environment or a rigid schedule or really having to answer to too many people. I answer to one person. I have my own company. I answer to the guy that hires me for the jobs. So it's my responsibility to make sure that the job is done to his specifications and to his quality. But he doesn't ever show up at the job site unless there's a problem. And I'm really proactive in letting him know that there is a problem. If it's something that's out of my ability to handle or it's out of my pay grade, like really it's a decision that I shouldn't be making, well, I'll let him know so he can come and make that decision. But other than that, I'm left to myself and the people that work on my crew. And so the way I like it. And I probably just went on another long segue, but to get back to what I'm doing this is an evolving experience, and I'm not making any hard decisions for a couple of years probably. Yes, of course, there's a Filipina in my life, and that's a subject for other videos. You'll see her come and go as this vlogging series develops, and that's an evolving relationship as well. You know, it's talking about foreign or Philippine relationships for a moment. Don't trust YouTube, and that's not that any of the vloggers on there are doing anything unsavory or they're lying or anything like that. It's just generally people are always wanting to express the highs, the best parts, you know, the things that make you want to watch the videos. Let's be realistic here. Everybody wants an audience. They want the subs. They want, they want the Patreon, and they want. Come on, let's be realistic here. Everybody wants to make some money off this. And again, no blame. I'm here doing the same thing. Like, come on. But it's one source, and I'm very, very cautious about making decisions based on one source of information, or one stream of information might be better. And honestly, if this type of thing is what draws you to these types of vlogs, yeah, there's lots of good. There's so much fun. Filipinas, I mean, the girl I got is amazing. Amazing. I'm not going to go into it. It doesn't matter. It's just an unbelievable experience that way. And we're deep enough into it now where the shine has come off of it, so to speak. And I never tire of having her around. I never tire of the person she is, and more importantly, the person she's becoming. For a lot of Filipinos, Pinay in general, Pinoy, they have sort of lost hope. I think a lot of times they're cheerful, happy people, but I think there's a lot of the drive is gone, and because they know they can't beat the system, they can't beat the corruption, and it's a very socialist country in a lot of ways. And I'm not going to get into politics. I avoid that at all costs, particularly in the Philippines. They're very proud people. They love their country. Don't get me wrong. They love their country. They hate the politicians. Frankly, is what it is. And there's bugs. And that's another aspect. This video is probably just going to be a lot of segues, all segued together. Is, as a foreigner, you need to be very, very aware of the politics of the country, geopolitics. China's a next-door neighbor, and they don't get along, China and the Philippines. And so that's something to think about. And I've heard a rumor that the Americans are opening bases back up in the Philippines. I could be wrong. I don't know. It is what it is. But you have to think of these things. And you don't want to be 5 years into your dream retirement, built a house, you dragged a bunch of your retirement money into this, and only to find out that the Chinese are walking down the street. And, maybe that would be good. Maybe it'll never happen. Maybe it will happen. But these are things that should be surfing around in the back of your head. And as I've begun to research moving my business over here, which is sort of my plan, there's a lot of hoops, and everybody wants their piece of the pie. And now it's not an expensive piece, but there's a lot of pieces, and there's still a lot of it's done by they mail you a form, you fill it out and sign it, and you mail it back. And if you forgot to dot an I or cross a T, they mail it back to you. And these things can take months. You don't come over here and open a company in 3 days. It can take 6, 7, 8, 9 months to get it to a point where you're legally allowed to run your business here. I swear that's just the same guy driving back and forth. But anyways, it's not fast. And another thing you want to be very, very, very careful of is, and this is no slight against the Filipinos, but they're here to make money, man. And they see foreigners as a way to squeeze a bit of coin out of them. And again, I don't blame them, not at all. If our positions were reversed, I'd be doing the exact same thing. And you got a family to feed, and you've got bills to pay, and you don't have a pension, you don't have disability, you don't have a healthcare system. Out in the provinces, you break a leg, you're on your own. You know, you do what you can. And there's a two-tier health system here, private hospitals, and if you have the money, that's probably the way to go. I haven't really looked into it. And then there's the government healthcare, which I hear is pretty hit or miss. And yeah, so there's a lot to consider, and I really encourage you to find out for yourself. Spend time here where you're not committed. You're not pot committed to being here. It's not like you sold your house and you moved over here, and you're like, oh my God, I've been here 6 months and not one single Filipino has a muffler on their vehicle. I'm joking, but it's just, there are a lot of things that will grate on your Western sensibilities. And I'm fortunately in a position mentally or emotionally where, I don't know, I just run with things, just let it flow. And I find humor in a lot of stuff. I find that if I'm just relaxed, it's just another day. But it's adventure, right? Like if you come over here and you expect things to be like they are in Canada or America or Europe, it's not the place for you. It's not. And if you need that, don't come here. It's that simple. You know, sure, there's areas like Dumaguete that are pretty grown up, pretty westernized, but then you start to pay Western prices, and you're not getting what you're after by coming to a place like this. There's no point in coming all the way to the Philippines, staying in a place like Dumaguete where prices, they're not Western level, but they're way more expensive than just about anywhere else in the Philippines. You know, so you know it's I don't know. I just, again, any expats that might come across this video, this is not criticism. This is just me learning about this new world. You know, and everybody makes decisions for the best of themselves and their families. I also, and this is more of a me thing, is I don't like the idea of people coming over here and just power dating a boatload of Filipinas. And it's, yes, they're very attracted to foreigners. They're attracted to the money. They're attracted to white, and they're attracted to green eyes and blonde hair, and blue eyes, and they very much, many of them, think of what their kids are going to do and be. And you will see lots of mixed here, half white, half Filipino, yeah, and a lot of them are really, really attractive people. And that's attractive to a lot of Filipinos. The flip side of that coin is it's easy to take advantage. It really is. Not maybe so much in places like Manila or Cebu or the bigger, more metropolitan areas, but if you're heading out to the provinces, smaller towns, where there isn't the same exposure to foreigners or the sort of generational accumulation of knowledge of what foreigners are like, yeah, you could find yourself a super pretty Filipina out in the backwoods and think you've struck gold. But yeah, she's thinking the same thing. And then if you ditch her after a week or a few days and move on, I mean, you're breaking her. And I just, wherever you go, just think of the girls you meet like they're your kids. Like it's your daughter who's meeting a guy, and treat her accordingly. And um, I think they're the Filipinas are very the ones in my experience, and I mean there's 50 million of them, so how many have I experienced? And I haven't been a serial dater out here. I met one online, and here we are. Is they're very malleable. They're relaxed. They're peaceful. They are much more selfless than you'll find in the West. My girl takes. She finds happiness in increasing my happiness, if that makes any sense. And I could be a dick about it and just take, and the relationship would probably trundle on for a while. That's not fair to her. It's not right. And so I try and return the favor, even though it's not a philosophy that's really taught in the West. But I've tried to take it on here, where I take joy in increasing her happiness, and I find that we're both becoming very selfless. Where I'm not waking up each day and what can I do with my day? What can I do to make myself feel good? What can I do to be special or whatever? We just take the day together, and sometimes it's about her, sometimes it's about me, and the more we do this, the more it just kind of flows. And there's a level of contentment there. And you can always trade up. I mean, seriously, you're with a person, and no matter how cute they are on the date one or date two, you're in. You know, you're seeing the wrinkles, and you're seeing the spots, and you're seeing the the flaws. And then the next girl can look amazing, and you can hop. Sure, you can, and you'll leave a trail of destruction in your wake, because these people have nothing. A lot of them, very little compared to the West. And when they start to pin their hopes on you and their dreams, you're a dick if you shrug that off. And yeah, just I'm gonna wrap it up here. She's texting me. She wants to come hang out. So yeah, I'm just gonna maybe I'll just title this chapter or these types of videos. It's just ramblings, and then you can just not listen to them, which I highly suggest. Ciao for now.